Welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you're tuned in to the Cammie Grayson Show. And today is a special day for me because this young man here I met, wow, I met him on TikTok, believe it or not. Lorenzo, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So tell
Yeah.
people who you are and what you do.
Lorenzo Darden, excuse me, originally from Georgia, now residing in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm an actor, father, mental health advocate. It's pretty much it.
Oh, look at him playing himself down. You know you pretty. Da, da, da. So this
No.
man, I'll tell you, first of all, he is a great actor. He does all these different little shows that you've seen him on. Those little police shows. I mean, come on, tell people the shows and stuff that you do. Got me telling everybody about you.
Yeah, so it's the crime shows, like Fatal Attraction, ATL Homicide, Sins of the City. I've also done Storms of Suspicion. That's another crime show that they show on the Weather Channel. So been doing those for quite some time now. Just recently wrapped up another episode for Fatal Attraction, so which is always fun. But yeah, that's been like I said, been doing that for quite some time
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So this guy is so humble, it's not even funny, but he is funny. This is the thing. So I met him on TikTok and I followed one of his how they do those little skits, right? And so we did a
now.
skit and it was hilarious. And I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. He is so cool. So I reached out to him and he responded back. So we've been friends on the friend level for over a year now. Can you
Yep,
believe it?
yep,
Over a
yeah,
year now. It goes by fast.
yeah, it
Oh my
does.
gosh.
Yeah, absolutely, it does go by fast. So, yeah.
So let me ask you about your TikToks. Now, you
Mm.
you way up there. You got all these billions of of fans and stuff that's following you on TikTok. I can't even get past what I got. What I can't even get past 10,000. So I got the one time, then it went right back down. But isn't it cool to be able to meet all these different people from different states and different countries, and you're just there in Tennessee. You're there and you're meeting all these thousands and thousands of people. Isn't that pretty
Mm.
cool?
It is. It's real cool, and it's it's overwhelming too. I mean, in a good way because um, to have the type of impact that I've had on other people's lives. I mean, it's really it's kind of cool to know that I can affect people in that way. So um, I mean, I'm still kind of blown away by it, but hey, you know, I'm I'm glad that it's happening. So.
Yeah. Look at him. He's so humble. He's just so dreamy. Just so humble. Look at him.
I can't help it. That's my thing, man. I always stay humble. That's something I was always taught and something I live by. So you're gonna always see that.
Well, I absolutely love it, and I love that's the thing that I attract me to you is your humble spirit. You're just so down to earth, and you talk about things that people don't dare to talk about.
Right.
You'll put out
Right.
there if somebody, um, saying something on the negative note, you put them in check. I love that about your platform because a
Yeah.
lot of times people need to hear that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's that's one of the things that I always try to do is I always try to stay positive because it's already enough negativity going on in the world, and I don't want to be a part of that realm. I want to stay positive, and I want to be able to project that positivity onto anyone whoever comes into contact with me. So I'm going to always stay positive, and anybody that try to come come at me with the negativity. I don't have a problem letting them know, hey, look, this is not the platform, or I'm not the person that you want to do that with. So
Right.
so definitely I always want to be positive because again it's already too much craziness going on, and
Right.
I prefer to be on the positive side. So
You know, when we first had our very first show together, we were kind of going through the COVID thing, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
and
Yeah.
everybody was being isolated, and
Hmm.
people were needing self-care, right? And
Absolutely.
I believe it's still, even though COVID is not as bad as it was before, but I do
Hmm.
believe it's still here. For one,
Right. Right. Right.
I believe the people that are now vaccinated, they can go through it real quick, quicker than they did before.
Hmm.
But it's still here. But not only did that take an impact on the world,
Hmm.
it made more of a more mental impact as well. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
you think so, right? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Absolutely.
where do you think we are right now?
I mean, I think we're in a different space now because we're not, because when COVID first hit, of course there was the shutdown, and you know pretty much everyone had to be in their homes, and they couldn't really go anywhere or do anything. So and when you're within your four walls and there's really not a whole lot that you can do, mentally that can take a toll on you. But now that we kind of have a little bit of freedom, to get outside, and you know what I mean, and just live somewhat of a normal life. I feel like we're in a different, a different place right now. Of course, it's a lot of us, still trying to be careful and be cautious, because like
Mhm.
you said, it is still here, and and to be honest with you, there's no telling what's out there. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with
Right.
you, because there's always something new that's coming. So it's all so it's best always stay safe no matter what. But I feel like we're in a different place than we once were when COVID first hit.
I don't know. So I'm at the studio, and I'm around the people that's at the studio, that comes to the studio, right? Because
Hmm.
this is my business.
Right.
But I'm still hesitant,
I got you.
and I work with the public.
Right.
Unfortunately, I was one of those people that didn't get off during COVID. I had to still be on my grind,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm still doing that, with my full time job. And but I don't go to grocery stores.
Right.
I don't go shopping like I used to. I'm Amazon all the way. I know I'm guilty, and my job is to get stores in, but I'm
Hmm.
guilty of it. Um, and I have
I mean, well,
anxiety now.
it's yeah, yeah. And I was gonna say, I was actually gonna bring it up. You're definitely not the only one that's like that. And which is why I'm glad that of course, with grocery stores, they made a way for you to order online, and have them bring your stuff, as opposed to you going out, to go to get it. Because yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people that's still you know affected by it, and still they have their thoughts about it, and they much rather just stay safe. So yeah, I totally get it. You know what I mean? Me personally, I don't really be outside like that no way. So, I'm cool either way.
Yeah, well, I go to work and I come straight to the studio and I go home.
Yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
what's the difference though? When you, for instance, like I'm, I would go to the dollar store, which is like right across the
Hmm.
street. It's not a lot of
Yeah.
people there, but then I won't go to the grocery store because I know it's more people there.
I mean, well, the difference for me is, I know what I already want. So all I got to do is just go in and get it in and get out. I don't just go in the store and just walk around and just hang around like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I already know what my mind is set on as far as what I'm gonna get out of there. Now of course, I'm sure that there are others, who are used to just going out, to the stores and just kind of
Hmm.
hanging around a little bit, but because of what COVID has done, yeah, it's got a lot of people's anxiety just on a rise. So you know, I'm sure that they would rather. Well, I'm sure that they would rather be outside, but at the same time, it's like I think they'd much rather just play it safe and just do things online, just stay home, and just not even take a chance. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like I say,
But
for me though, I'm in and out, so I'm not even. concerned
But how
about
do
it.
you meet people now? How do you keep
I
those
don't.
bonds and those relationships going with
I,
friends?
I mean, I have. Um, I mean, social media. You know what I mean? Social media is my thing, and if if I do meet people, I mean, and of course, whenever I'm on set, whenever I'm filming, that's one way for me to
But
meet
that's
people.
work, right?
Yeah, that's work. That's work. But anything outside of that, though, if people want to, reach out to me, get to know me or whatever, I mean, social media is what I have. But as far as like personal interaction, um, not so much. you know.
Yeah,
But that's, I mean, but of course um, it's a more personal thing with me when it comes to that though.
yeah,
Because I'm real particular about who I you know connect with and let into my space like that. So
yeah. Me too. Me too. So, okay, so now what is this healthy though? Is that a healthy decision that we've made? Is that something that we probably need to work on to kind of reduce that anxiety and get back out there? Or, you know, how you put your big toe in the water to see if it's cold, and then you have to kind of adjust to it. Is this something that we need to start working on now, moving forward?
I think so. I think I think anything that causes anxiety, I mean, you want to try to work on you know minimizing that, in whatever way that you can. So I mean, and whatever helps with that, yeah, absolutely, do what you got to do. But at the same time, I mean, I also don't feel like there's anything wrong with protecting yourself either. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because as I said, you can't, you got to be careful with the type of energy, the energy that you invite into your space. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
I think it's yeah, absolutely. Do whatever you got to do to help with that. Bring down that anxiety, but at the same time, continue to protect yourself too.
Right. So let's talk about the things you've done and the people that you've been helping get through these hard times.
So I mean, for me personally, um, it was more so of a internal job that I had to do. As far as getting better and um, dealing with a lot of the mental health issues that I've had, because a lot of people don't know this, but I do suffer from depression and anxiety as well. I'm also a two-time suicide attempt survivor. So for me, it was just finding ways to just get better with that. But I had to make sure that I was real careful about how I go about doing that. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
it's real easy to get caught up, with things that looks like it's helpful, but really it's not. Like for
Mhm.
me, social media has always been my way of escape. It's always been you know my way to kind of deal with what I had going on. But at the same time, it's like when you go on social media, you see so much craziness going on. It
Yeah.
actually makes it worse. So so there was a moment where I had to take a break from social media. There was a time
Mhm.
where I had to just take a break from everything. So I can really focus on what I had to do. And one of the things that I had to do um, was seek therapy. You already know with the stigma placed on black folks, especially black men, you already
Mhm.
know how we feel about therapy. But I had to take that leap, because I wanted to get better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but of course, for me, as far as helping others, just creating that safe space for them to be able to reach out and talk to me and to let them know that they're not alone, and to let them know that I can definitely relate. You know what I'm saying? Especially my fellow brothers, because you know how it is with us black dudes. We don't like to talk about you know our struggles and our issues. You know what I mean? We much rather just keep it in, but at the same time, it's like doing it for so long. All you're doing is just turning yourself into this ticking time bomb. You know what I mean? And
Right.
anything can set you off.
Right.
So for me, and I use social media a lot to talk about my struggles, in hopes to, help someone else. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because I know a lot of people, they look at me and they see me doing acting, but they don't know the personal things that I got going
That you
on
go
too.
through. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I like sharing, stuff that I go through, because I want people to know that, hey, we're still human, and we go through a lot. You know what I mean? So um, for me to just, be able to create that safe space, and you know, and I don't mind people reaching out to me whenever they want to talk about, their
Right.
issues. I much rather hear about your issues than to hear about, something happening to you later. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm always open, open myself up to people, who want to talk about stuff like that.
Right. Do you find it now people are more easy to talk about it now, opposed to what they were before when
I think so. I think so.
I kind of agree with that.
I think so because because at one point there wasn't a whole lot of people talking about it. You know what I mean? Especially men. There wasn't a whole lot of men talking about mental health, and talking about you know stuff like that, suicide, you know, childhood issues, traumas. Like it wasn't a whole lot talking about it. But now, I feel like now that people are, talking about it more, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot easier now. So
But at one point we were not known for being the race that did a lot of serial killing and abducting and things like that. Those were
hmm
always a one off, right? A hit and miss.
right, right,
Every now and then, a husband might, kidnap his wife or something like that. But that wasn't our our thing. It wasn't
right,
our thing.
right.
Now it has. I don't know if the can of worm had opened up or what, but now you're seeing more of our people doing those same things that we used to kind of categorize and stereotype. The serial killers are not our color. So
hmm
now they are a color. They're any color at
right,
this point. And
right.
so we have to be even more careful of who, like you said before, who we let in our space. And on top of that, I mean, you never know what to set a person off.
You never know. I'm glad you said that, because you never know. You never know what a person goes through. You never know what a person has held in for so long, and it took, just the right thing to set them off. You just never know. And and again, I feel, and it goes back to what I was saying about how, how there was a time, a lot of us, we didn't know how to, open up,
Hmm.
and share what was really going on with us. You know what I mean? Like with the whole with the cyberbullying thing with a lot of our young kids,
Right.
that was dealing with the cyberbullying, and next thing you know, you're hearing about them, you know, committing suicide. You know what I'm saying? Um, with the way people, with the way our young kids are trying to fit in nowadays, and they're not, and they feel like they're not being accepted, and they're being teased or whatever. That can really, do
Oh yeah.
something, and that's and I feel like more than ever we really do need to talk about that,
Yeah.
a lot more than ever before, because that kind of stuff does happen with us a lot, but it's just not known uh, for us to be that, the serial killer, and committing
Right.
suicide and all that. You don't know that kind of stuff about us, because we're not known for that. But at the same time, it's like we're also not. We also feel like we're not able to, like, let go and just let out what really
Right.
is going on inside of us. You know what I mean? So again, that's why I talk the way that I do, and share stuff on my platform the way that I do, in hopes to help someone who does struggle with that, because it does happen. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It does happen with us, and I would definitely love to be a catalyst, in order to um, help others and inspire others, to,
Right.
to talk or at least to seek some sort of help in order to help them with that.
Right. But then another thing to think about too is what I think about sometimes. You know, the average person, they go to work and
Hmm.
they come home. Like I mentioned before, go to work, come home, go to work, come home. You that gerbil, trying to keep it going, trying to keep it going. And
Hmm.
you do all that work, and then sometimes it's kind of like, what are we doing the work for? Are we
Right.
is it really going to pay off in the end? Or are we just working until we die? So those type of thoughts can be hindering as well. You know what I
And
mean?
then you also got to think about this too. When you're on a job, you're dealing with different personalities and attitudes and spirits, and that's enough to drive you crazy itself. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that puts your mind in a different space too, because now it's like you gotta, when you leave your job, now you gotta go home and you gotta try to, you know, be something else, but you're not sure if you can, really get to that space because you're still dealing with
Yeah,
what you had
sometimes
to
it's
go
hard to
through
cut
with.
it off, and I'm
Yeah, it's
guilty of
hard to
that.
cut it off. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very
yeah,
guilty of that.
yeah.
But I do have someone that reels me back in and say, "Hey, you're on your way to your own business. You're on your way to SKST. Stop talking about that." He pulls me in every time, and I love him for it. It makes me mad because I want to get it off my chest, but at the
Right,
same time, when I'm here, this is my happy space,
right,
you know? And so
right.
this is why I work so hard. So I don't have to
Hmm.
deal with those stresses. I mean, we have our own
Hmm.
stresses here, but not like that.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
It's
Right,
totally
and
different.
it's good but it's good that you have that support system too. But imagine those that don't have it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're left with dealing with that stuff on their own.
Yeah.
And that just, you know what I mean? And that just kind of, it makes it even harder for them to deal with it because they don't have nobody there, to kind of help, calm them down. So that's a struggle in itself. That's
Yeah.
that's that's a challenge in itself because you after dealing with what you had to take on in the world, once you leave that part, now you go home and you just by yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't, there's nobody to, you know, give
To,
you.
yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of how it is in my world too, because I'm from Texas and I'm in
Mhm.
Virginia, and so last night, after I made it through the whole day, right? And then it
Mhm.
dawned on me, today would have been my mom's birthday.
Okay.
And so it
Okay.
was kind of like, wow, no one said anything. No one called. No one, and then I started feeling some kind of way. And I know this is all a part of everything, the anxiety and all that. But at the end of the day,
Well, first off, happy birthday to your mom.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, but once I posted it, social media, it
Mhm.
helped me. I got it off my chest. I was able to say, happy heavenly birthday, mom. And I
Mhm.
was able to go to bed.
Yeah.
I was able to just take it off my plate, put it there. And then when I woke up this morning, family members was on the post.
Mhm.
It's kind of like, well, if I hadn't said anything, they
Yeah.
probably they probably wouldn't have known where my headspace was. Oh,
Right.
if I
Right.
mention her mom's her birthday, maybe she might be crying. You never
Mhm.
know what people are thinking about what you're going through.
Right. 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 And
So
that
how do
and
you?
that's no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was about to say. So how do you let people know in a way that you're okay, or that you need that support? I really wish you would have called and said, it's mom's birthday. You know, Different people are different strokes for different folks, right?
Right.
So
Right.
how do you help any of those people in those situations?
I mean, well, first off, uh, if I know you and I know, um, that there's a special moment, that's about to come up in your life. And this is just me. I'm one of them ones that'll reach out, in support. Um, but as far as how I handle it and how I deal with it, because I still struggle with my dad not being here, right? I still struggle with, you know, not having that father figure. So anytime his birthday comes or Father's Day come, um, honestly, I don't expect for people to feel the way that I feel,
Mm-hmm.
family members included, because we all had our different relationships with him. I just deal with it the best way that I know how.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if someone chooses to reach out and say something, cool. Um, if not, I'm cool with that too because all I got to do is go back and look at the memories I created with him, like I
Mm-hmm.
did, like on with the TikTok. I did quite a few TikToks with him before he passed, and I still get people, showing me love about that. You know what I
Right.
mean? So as long, I'm just glad I was able to create those memories with him, and as long as I have that, I'm good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm sure it's not like that with others. Um, but at some point, you know, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how everybody else feels about the grieving process. Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you never stop grieving.
Yeah. I'm
I
kind
feel
of that way
I feel
too.
like I feel like you never stop grieving, especially when you have those moments where you want to reach out to them, but you can't.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough within itself. So whenever I get like that, I go ahead and let the tears flow and look back on the memories and smile afterwards. You know I because I knew it was gonna come a time where I wasn't gonna have this.
Right.
So let me get this in while I can. So whenever that time does come, I could just look back on those moments and just go from there.
I love it. So give me a situation where you felt like you couldn't handle it. How did you pull yourself off that ledge?
Oh man. Um. So okay. So I'll give you the most recent, and this was when I was filming for Fatal Attraction, right? So the day my dad passed was actually the same day I was scheduled to film for Fatal Attraction. I was playing a detective role, and because I remember before I left, I told my dad, hey, I'm coming back. After I get done, I'm gonna come back and me and you gonna hang out. And I just remember him smiling. He didn't say nothing. He just smiled. He just had that look on his face. He smiled, and I really didn't think nothing of it because he always do that. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know I wasn't gonna see him, so I'm on set trying to keep it together. Trying to you know not let even though everybody knew I was going through it because they knew my dad had passed. I was still trying to get through it. So anyway, so recently when I filmed Fatal Attraction is crazy because the room that they put me in was the same room when I got the text message that my dad had passed,
Oh wow.
and I was filming for the same show as a detective,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, dog, I wish I could call my dad and let him know, hey man, I booked it again, I'm doing it again, but it's like
Right. Right.
but I'm like I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't.
Mhm.
And I remember after the night that we filmed, I just went back to the room and I couldn't. It was hard for me to hold it together. Like I reached out and wanted to. I just wanted somebody to just get on the phone and just let me cry for a minute. I
Yeah.
couldn't get I couldn't get anybody. So I just sat there in the room and I just let it go. I just let it go because because I'm like maybe that's the time I needed to be alone. Maybe that's the time I just needed that
Yeah.
moment to just let it out. That so that was probably you know one of the toughest moments,
Mhm.
because it's like you just want to share, you want to share the good things with your people, but
Yeah.
your people ain't there, so it just
Yeah.
makes it hard.
And it's kind of funny though, because I could probably talk to 10 people a week, and when that moment hits, nobody's available.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have the habit of talking to people in the morning and in the evenings on my way home. And that way, when
Hmm.
I get home, I can shut it down, right?
Hmm.
But sometimes, like you said, they're not available. They got other things going on, and they're not even on that same, because they have their own thing, you know.
Right, right,
Because
right.
you're not their center of attention, and the center bubble for them. They got their own
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
and so you always have to take that into consideration. So I do think about that. But
yeah, yeah.
on a positive note, what type of advice could you give to someone who wants to be, and this is a two-part question here for you, because we're
Mhm.
talking about two different things. So on the positive note, to be an actor, what type of advice could you give someone who wants to be where you are right now?
Don't stop.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Don't stop.
Keep
Don't
going.
stop.
Don't
Don't
stop.
stop.
Get it.
That's it. Don't stop. Like if that's like, don't let the no's discourage you. Don't let um don't let the negativity discourage you. Like don't let none of that stop you. Just keep going. Do not stop. Listen, you talking to someone who's been trying to do this ever since he was a kid. And when I finally got an opportunity to do it, it was like 8 years ago when I, finally started to do it professionally. There was a lot of auditions that I didn't book. I got a lot of no's. I've got it got discouraging. But I was like,
Hmm.
oh, this is something I want to do. So I believe my moment is coming. So like, yeah, don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. But if I want to like really give you advice as far as like how to get into it, if you got headshots, if you got an acting reel, if you got a minute monologue that you can do, you can record yourself doing, do it and shop that stuff around. Like shop it around to all the different, talent agencies, casting directors. Do whatever you got to do to just put yourself out there. Use your social media platforms to put yourself out there. But at the end of the day, do not stop.
I love it. I love it. Now, so if someone's going through flipping the script, someone's going through a hard time in life, maybe they might have just lost their job, or they got
Mhm.
discouraged because they keep getting the no's, and they don't really have a support system. What type of advice could you give them?
Don't stop. Don't stop. Listen, because again, you're talking to someone who didn't have, a huge support system. When I first mentioned about acting and modeling, I got laughed at. You know what I'm saying? And not just laughed at from, like I'm talking about, regular folks, church folks, whoever. Like I got laughed at, right?
Wow.
Uh, Matter of fact, I even, well, no, I'm not gonna tell that story because, I'm not gonna tell that story. But anyway, I'm gonna just say this: don't stop, man. I don't care. Don't If you really want to do it, if you're really passionate about it, if it's something that you love, if it's something that you just know, without a shadow of doubt, if you know you can do it,
I
and
love it.
don't let nobody stop you. Don't let nobody discourage you. Do that. I ain't gonna cuss, but do that. Do it.
I love
Yeah,
it.
and you put a spin on it however you want, but do that.
I know, right? So when people tell me I can't do stuff, that makes me want to do it even more. Just
Exactly.
even if I
Let
fail at it, I'm still gonna keep going and trying.
let let that be fuel to keep going.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So now tell people how they can get in contact with you.
Listen, I'm on any social media platform. I'm on, okay, so Facebook, I got two of them. Just look my name up, Lorenzo James Darden Jr. You'll find both of them. I'm on Twitter, God's Chosen Seven. I'm also on TikTok, Lorenzo James Darden Jr. Instagram, Lorenzo James Darden Jr. Look me up. Snapchat, you want to do that? YouTube, I'm everywhere. Hit me up.
I love it. And so the last question for you tonight, my friend, is what's next for you? What are you working on next?
So okay, so we just finished up with the Fatal Attraction. I have I just got booked for a commercial type deal. I can't really get into the details just
Um,
yet, but I will keep everybody posted. I'm in talks with. I can't get into the details about this one either, but I'm definitely keep everybody posted. But just know that this next big thing that I'm doing is probably going to be the biggest thing I've ever had in my acting career.
nice.
Um, so I'm definitely going to keep everybody posted about that. Just please be on the lookout for that. I promise. I'm excited about it. You know, hopefully when I share it, everybody else will be excited about it. But it's going to be big
Absolutely. Well, you can share it here with me. I always want to
all
know what's
day.
going on.
Yeah, all day, all day. You
For
already know I got
sure.
you.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being a personal friend on top of being my social media buddy. I appreciate you. I see all the stuff you're doing. I might not be as active, but I'm there and I'm supporting you as much as I can. So just let me know if you need anything on my end, anything that I can do to help you. And I know it's vice versa because
You already know. Yeah,
we've had phone calls. So
yeah,
when I needed you and you were right there for me. So I do appreciate that, as
all day,
always, as
all
always.
day. I got you.
And so, but love you, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show. And
Love you
guys,
too.
check this guy out. I mean, he has some reels on his page, and I just checked one out that I guess it was old. I thought it was new, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this boy is really acting his butt off, boy. So he is very good, and I just cannot wait to see him doing bigger and better things because at the end of the day, he is a go getter. Like he said, don't stop, keep going, keep going, keep going. And we appreciate you, Mr. Lorenzo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until
Thank
next
you.
week, guys. SKST Radio, baby.